Hi there. I have Sherif Mansour with me from Atlassian.
Hi, Martin. Hey, everyone at home. Good to see you all. I think most knowledge workers will move from a world where they do the thing to becoming people who architect the thing that they are trying to do. But at the macro level, you can be the change you seek at that level too if you want. Tinkering is a very important technique that leaders, managers of organizations can do. But when we create space, our teams can innovate. I feel like just an old storybook. Lots of stories.
I would say you're Atlassian employee number 2 now.
I don't know. I actually
So Mike Brooks was before you.
Number 2 would have been Mark.
Scott Farquhar is not active anymore, so he doesn't count.
Technically still an employee.
Yeah. I call him inactive, so it's by counting.
Yeah.
So
Sorry, Scott, if you see this video. Sorry.
Who's within Atlassian, who joined Atlassian and is still working actively, that came before you?
Oh, a lot. I don't know the number, but maybe as a proxy, we have nearly 400 Atlassians that have been at Atlassian for more than 10 years. And I've been at Atlassian this will be my 16th year. So there's a lot. I'd be surprised if it's...
Did you understand that he couldn't say a single name?
No, there's people here. Edwin Wong, who used to run Jira Service Management, runs Jira Customer Service. Shihab Hamid, who works with me on AI agents now, used to be in Jira Service Management. Anatoly runs engineering for Jira. There's quite a few that I could that are more than 15 years old. Teenage years old, so, but lots of gray hair like me.
It took a long time for me to say that Sherif is an inventory.
I feel like just an old storybook. Lots of stories.
Can you tell the story of Scott Farquhar and you that has excited me so much and we've talked about 2 years, or is that...
The photo story? Or
no, the Sherif being frustrated and Scott Farquhar making him unfrustrated? Is that intimate or...?
Like I could generalize version of the story.
Yeah,
every few years, I ask myself, I hope everyone does, am I enjoying, what am I doing? Am I having fun? Am I learning? And I've been at Atlassian for 13 odd years at that time. 13, maybe 12 years at the time. And just like there's lots of opportunities at Atlassian, so I've been very lucky, and I felt it was maybe time for change. Lots of little things frustrating me everywhere, and not one big thing. There's like lots of things. The bigger you get, people say, what's the hardest thing about working in software products? Honestly, I would say the hardest thing without a doubt is scaling product teams. Like when you scale product teams, as in more people, everything breaks. Trust breaks, process breaks, culture breaks, rituals, you need to reset, like all that stuff. And that gets harder the bigger you get as a company. I don't know how many employees we are now, 15,000, maybe 16,000 or something like that. So I had a chat with them saying, I'm thinking about leaving, whatever. One of Atlassian's values is be the change you seek, which I thought I knew pretty well as an old-time Atlassian. And Scott said, Scott was, he didn't try to talk me out of it or anything. He said, no worries, can you do me a favor before you leave? I said, whatever you want. And he said, I want you to just, if you walk around and there's something that's bothering you, just tell people what to change it to, and just act like you run this place. I was like, what? That seems strange. And I was like, well, I'm leaving anyway, so I may as well do that. But he was telling me to be that change I seek. And I started doing that at about year 12, 13 more deliberately. And it was a mindset shift. Which is like, no, genuinely, I believe in that value, but I was doing it at the micro level. Like I was doing it for the areas that I was responsible for, all that stuff. But at the macro level, you can be the change you seek at that level too if you want. So that was a powerful mental model shift for me personally, and gave me a newfound energy already, and obviously decided to stay on. But yeah, that's the story.
See, that's...
Thank you for listening to the story, folks. This feels like an Oprah Winfrey episode.
It has been one of the things exciting me the most about our conversations, because I have been trying to tell our customers that people who don't care get the furthest, and they
People
always
don't care.
like people often care a lot about politics. Can I do that? What will he say?
right.
Is that part of our compliance?
Yeah,
blah blah blah. Those things. And what I basically say is, you shouldn't care. Like as long as you feel like you're doing the right thing, as long as what you're doing is can be out in the open, and other people can ask you, why did you do that? And you have a good answer.
Yeah.
You're gonna be okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to read a handbook first before doing anything.
Yeah.
And people are very hesitant on that, even when they hear that. And I can align very well with that, and the story that, and I do see it with Atlassian. Like if you talk to a lot of your colleagues, they are hesitant.
Yeah.
Can I say that? They can't.
You just said it anyway.
They cannot. It's difficult to get someone on video who will talk freely, and I enjoy that. If we have conversations, I feel this is Sherif doing. It's not compliance showing me
But
what
for
Sherif can.
visitors, I mean, we've known each other for the 15 years easily. So I feel like I've grown up with Martin, alongside Martin. Maybe he looks a bit older than me. I don't know. You tell us.
Absolutely.
We talk about our families, our stories together, and early days of Confluence is when I first met Martin, and we did a lot of stuff together. So psychological safety is achieved when trust it grows with someone, right? So we have a very good relationship, I feel, and I'm very, very blessed and fortunate for that. One of the hearts of coming back to team, you're seeing customers, all that stuff, but you see people that you've spent 10, 15 years of your professional life, and you've got to know their personal life together. That, you can't beat that. It's such an amazing feeling.
Yeah.
It's
I
a highlight to.
Thank you so much for sharing it.
No, it's genuine. It's true.
Let's come to 2035.
Let's talk about work.
Yeah, let's talk about business. What customers care about.
Yeah.
Rovo, Atlassian platform, system of work, this teamwork graph. Can you give us a short wrap up and explain to people why this is so incredibly cool?
Yeah, all of those three things, or just one, or
whatever. I'll jump in and try to refer.
Okay, so a system of work is really around a set of practices and methodology for how technology and business teams work together. You can think about it like in the Agile Manifesto days. It was a set of principles for how to apply it to our place. Same thing here, right? So, we want to align teams to goals. We want to unleash knowledge. We want to introduce our virtual teammates. These are philosophies that are very easy to say from a marketing perspective. Who doesn't want to align team with goals? This seems silly, right? But if you look at the Agile Manifesto principles back then, it was the same thing. It was shipping over strenuous documentation. It was responding to change over long-term planning. They're obvious things, but they're very hard to implement in scaled organizations with teams that are everywhere. And so the system works really helping customers with the tools, but especially with our solution partners, the practices, to help implement them and make it their own. So what does it mean to align my work to goals when I have dozens of teams using Jira and Confluence and all these other apps to track projects? And I have an executive team, and is it tops down and bottoms up, and how do I do that? That's what we want to help people with. So that's the system of work. How Rovo helps accelerate that with the teamwork graph is that Rovo plays a big part in the system of work in terms of each part of that system of work, Rovo can help accelerate or introduce. For example, one of the principles is we believe every organization needs to start to introduce their AI teammates to their businesses. We believe the future is humans collaborating together with lots of agents, and there'll be a lot of them. So Rovo, for example, introduces agents and gives you a framework and a platform for creating agents and deploying them in your business workflows. One of the systems of the philosophies of the principles of work is unleash knowledge. We know organizations have so much knowledge that's trapped in SharePoint, Google Docs, Microsoft Teams, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. And AI is a great solution to the opportunity of bringing that knowledge and letting employees uncover insights and extracting that knowledge. Rovo helps organizations do that as well. All of that's powered by what we call the teamwork graph, which is really our understanding of how teams work on projects and how they relate to different things in their system, how the project relates to that SharePoint document, how the project relates to that team, which Jira project that team works on, and all that kind of stuff. And that helps us build better, more contextual results for our customers.
I loved your research insight on the difference between the Microsoft world and the Atlassian world on default to open and the implications for AI. Can you dive into that?
Yeah, it's a fascinating insight that I have learned as I talk to customers. You get customers that will give you, I often find generally two binary first-time experiences using any sort of AI or chat solution. They'll either be like, I tried it, it gave me nothing useful, or I tried it and wow. And so, okay, well, tell me more. What was the wow moment and why wasn't it useful and all that stuff? And the one of the many findings of my research personally is that if an organization has access to a lot of documents, however, by default, all those documents are closed by default. So as an example, I can create a Word document and I can share it with Man, but only me and him have permissions by default.
Mm-hmm.
So when a new employee starts, they have zero access to that knowledge. They don't have access to the document. They don't even know the document exists. Like, they don't even know it exists. Knowledge bases, SharePoint, Confluence, Notion, knowledge bases start with an open by default approach. Most knowledge-based software kind of does that in some way. And so as a result, when they run AI over it, they get a lot more instant results. Most people, when they start with AI, their baby step use case or their first step is ask a question. That's usually the first thing people do with that. Before they go into like, help me generate content and let me use agents, they're like the more mature steps. Most people start with that. And so if your AI is connected to a knowledge repository that's updated and is used, the old saying, garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't have access to the data or the data is not there, you're not going to get anything out of AI. And so many people look at AI and go, this AI is not good or this AI is great. But often when you try to learn why, it's have they connected a knowledge base that's open by default. It doesn't mean everything's unsecured and all that stuff. It just means the question you ask when you publish your content is who should have access to it, not who do I want one by one at a time. You just let everyone have it and you can lock it down instead of starting by adding one name at a time, which often doesn't scale and means the document's dead. Once me and you leave the company, that's it, that knowledge is gone.
I like the insight that Atlassian software helps me become a better AI consumer because I get more info from that.
And because Jira, Confluence, they're all open by default.
Yeah.
And as a byproduct, when you put Rovo on your site, you turn it on, ask a question. Most of our customers' first wow moment is, I didn't know that, and they'll finish a sentence. And they could find this stuff from search before, but AI obviously gives you the generated answer, gives you like a knowledge card that tells you from these 12 sources, this is what you know. And so they often uncover insights and knowledge for projects, onboarding, all that kind of stuff.
You offer Confluence, Jira, and Loom for $15 per user now.
For you, I can get it cheaper. What those can? No, okay, no. Yeah.
Cut out. That's cheaper than it was before. Like only Confluence and Jira alone was more expensive. Why are you doing that? Do you want more reach? Do you want people to use this together to become this platform, or why that shift?
Yeah, we're calling them Teamwork Collection, which is really the foundations of teamwork. More and more.
Is that the successor of One?
Successor of One? What do you mean by that?
So you have Atlassian One, that's this platform with... forget it. It doesn't matter.
Together, Atlassian together.
Yeah.
You're thinking of One was the it's the reference architecture, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah.
You're thinking of the old. Yes, it was all the learnings from that applied. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I can't remember the name. It is Atlassian together, right? Sorry, it's been a while.
We both know.
Yeah, we are getting old. It's day 2 here, so please have mercy on us.
Day number 3.
There you go. See, I'm still jet lagged. I haven't slept for a while. But look, the goal is to democratize this software for everyone. We have a long history.
Did I say I love it?
Martin knows. Everyone knows. Our software is very good value for money. I was a customer. I remember buying Jira on my credit card. In a large telecommunications company in Australia. And I got thousands of users for a fraction of a price. What did that do? It helped me transform my organization. I saw how it opened up Optus, the telecommunications company I used to work for. I saw how it made information accessible between different silos of departments. And so the customer value was delivered. So we're doing it really to just accelerate adoption. We believe in these products, and we want to remove as much friction as possible for customers to get started. And
That's awesome. If I am a customer and I'm watching the recording of Mike Cannon-Brookes and the new on stage yesterday, what's the next step? What is your recommendation? What's the goal of Atlassian? Like, what do you think customers should now do? I mean, obviously they should move from data center to cloud.
It depends on where they are on those journeys. Obviously cloud migration, step one. Taking AI out, there's over 10 years of innovation that is still in cloud that hasn't come to data center. So there'll be already new value from day one. Goals, projects, system of work, all that stuff. Look, the most powerful thing you can do as an organization, forget about our tools for a sec. Just put that aside, because it is about the people and the practices over the tools. Like that's the first and most important thing. There is a cultural shift that is happening. Behavioral changes are required for all of us, including Martin and myself, for us to understand what I need to do to start work with my new teammates. And as an organizational leader, I can do things to give people space to do that. We use the phrase at Atlassian, tinkering.
Mm-hmm.
When there's a new way of trying something, you want to tinker. You want to play with it and see what it's like. Tinkering is a very important technique that leaders, managers of organizations can do. They may do it in an innovation squad. They may do it in a pilot program. It could be all the way to one small team where the manager says, this week we're going to try doing this task this different way. But when we create space, our teams can innovate. When we don't create space, the natural human behavior is to do the thing you always used to do, because you know that you'll get a result that is exactly the same. It may be less efficient. You may get less accurate results to do that. So the first thing to do is find in your organization rituals and practices where you can give teams space to explore how to adopt a system of work or how to deploy AI as their new teammate, right? Obviously, we can help a lot with that. If you're looking at getting started with goals tracking, whatever, that is now available as an app for all of our cloud customers, right? If you would like to start tinkering with AI, guess what? You don't have to get another product. It'll be included in your Jira and Confluence and Jira Service Management in cloud. It's there for you to start tinkering with. And so the way I tell people to get started with AI, draw a business process that you have to do today manually. Use Confluence whiteboards or whatever you like.
On Draw.io.
Sorry, that was no good, that one. Use Draw.io. We're on that one. Map out the business process that you would like to draw. That's what your team do today. For each step in the process, write the steps that you need to do to take that task, and then brainstorm as a group. What can you do? How can I help speed up those steps? As a simple example, you might be like, okay, we're in the capital review process for my company. Someone writes a proposal. It goes through this review. It goes through a forum meeting, and then we'd make a decision. Okay, at each step, what do we do? What are the tasks? We produce a document. We check the document for standards. All that stuff. And then you can go and say, oh, look, we have an opportunity to automate our standards checking. A great use case of AI is to enforce a standard on issues or documents that you create. You can create agents that automatically review documents and create tasks for you or comment on them and tell you what things were missing and what needs to be filled out and that kind of stuff. So once you've mapped out a business flow, you'll find those opportunities and you can go deploy them. And again, hopefully there's no friction there because it's now available in your cloud instance here.
2 questions.
Coming soon, I should say, not now available. Rolling out start this week. Yeah.
2 questions I still have. One, we're not only building Draw.io, we're also building Mantra, an internet solution. Yes. And Atlassian has created quite a few things, company hubs and so on. Can you fill us in on what your strategy there is and what the next steps are?
Yeah, the current strategy actually is to merge, transparently, we want to merge the different hubs we have in our portfolio. So for customers that might use Jira Service Management, we have a help center hub where customers can design a hub there, which is different to the Confluence hub. They're actually 2 separate concepts, 2 separate constructs today. And what we'll be doing over the next year or so is merging them to one concept. So customers can create one hub and then choose which modules or widgets they want to appear in the hub and design their own hub over time. Hubs could be for a team homepage or department homepage, or it could be for a company-wide landing page. It may depend on the use case of the company, or it could just be for your IT help desk trying to deflect work. And so you might just have a landing page for that as well. So that's the current thinking around there. What we want to do is make hubs extensible, so many app vendors and customers can add their own modules to hubs in various different ways and contribute that way. Yeah.
If I'm thinking of intranets, don't see the word hub used a lot. There's a special set of features that come with intranets often. Do you think Atlassian is going to adopt them all?
Look, if transparently, when I look at Atlassian, we
create an event, for example, or
event management,
microblogging, or those things.
We rarely have the capability to do the long tail of everything, right? So we think about instead. I think the thing we need to do for our customers is give them the canvas and let our ecosystem extend that canvas. So event planning is a great example where like there's I don't know. I don't see that's something Atlassian would do in any time soon, even long term. I doubt it, but you never know. But it just seems very unlikely. But what we need to do is provide that canvas and let app vendors extend it. Microblogging is another good example, right? You're like, in that example as well, you could want to be able to extend that canvas and add your own sections to it as well.
It's sometimes hard because Atlassian is not playing on the same field as vendors, but that's probably not good for the.
We have a different API, which is a fair assertion. Yeah.
Do you think that's ever going to go away, or does Atlassian need that extra speed?
Honestly, it really depends on the situation, market context. An example where I worked on agents recently. From day one, we made sure agents use the same ecosystem APIs as other things.
That's Robo.
Robo agents specifically. And there's still some differences of some things we can't do with Forge, and some things you can. Mostly largely due to legal limitations and privacy issues with data. And then there's some scenarios where the market's moving fast, we need to move fast. And maybe we don't have the platform capabilities to use the same extensibility framework. And in those scenarios, they'll look different. Look, as a purist, ideal perspective, it would be nice to be all using the same thing. The reality is, the answer is it depends on the situation and circumstance that we're faced with. Yeah.
Last question. I read yesterday that Chinese, Indian IT people are facing hardship because a lot of Western companies now use AI for things that they outsourced to Indian IT people yesterday.
Okay.
Seems to be a fact. My question for you is, how will my team change in the future now that I have these robo agents and I have a democratized robo studio where I can do automation, although I can't do any coding, and just tell the robo agent do this, and then at some point it may do what I want, and then I never ask any engineer to help me.
Yeah.
How does Atlassian see teams change in the future?
Yeah.
What's the requirements for a good team?
That's a very good question. Human to agent collaboration, we see increasing over time. It'll be collaboration in humans and agents.
Did you know my daughter is always saying thank you to ChatGPT because she thinks at one day it will be It will be a general AI, and then she will not be go extinct because she always says.
I remember I said thank you to you. Yes, we always say nice and thank you. It's we had this. Forget about AI. When we all got Google Homes and Amazon Alexas and whatever at home, my 5-year-old kid would be like, Google play blah blah, and just from a manners perspective, I would yell at my son and be like, don't forget to say please. And so I always found that funny because that was pre-generative AI, right? Like it was just teaching our kids manners anyway. But I use the phrase, I think most knowledge workers will move from a world where they do the thing to becoming people who architect the thing that they are trying to do. So as an example, I could write the specification for this project, or I could work with AI to tell it what kinds of things I would like to see, how I would like to see it, and go back and forth with it to get the thing that I'm after. I think we'll see that with every job function.
So we're all going to be managers.
Of a job function. It's hard to, how long is that extrapolation and all that stuff? But I feel like a good analogy is, what does a manager do for you? My manager coaches me. My manager gives me feedback. My manager sometimes gives me guardrails. I only want you to work in this area, whatever, leave that out of the way, etc. My manager finds opportunities where I could extend and build other skills. When you swap the manager with the human, with the agent, it's a very similar pattern. Agents need knowledge. They need to be trained. Agents need access to tools. My manager will give me access to different tools. Agents need access to tools. Then my manager will give me instructions on the area. Now, they could be vague and let me improvise, or they could be very specific and let me produce the output. And it might be different depending on my seniority or the outcome they desire. Or maybe by design, they want to see a more exploratory answer than a very precise answer. So I think that'll continue to happen over time. And if maybe another framework I like to use in my head is, there's a job function, and under each job there's a task. So as a product manager, I write requirements, I do customer research, I prioritize my roadmap, whatever. Under each task, I think AI can help us do things within each task in each of those areas, if that makes kind of sense.
Absolutely.
And I think that's a good framework for us to have, because we try to break down how we can best use AI in each of those specific areas in each of our day jobs. So I really think it'll help with that. The other big area I think AI will help with that we undervalue, because the next conclusion with customers is, wait, what happens to all my junior staff then? Because I only have senior staff training the AI. No, don't forget, AI is an excellent tool for training. Excellent. So my son, he gets stuck with his homework, and he asked me to do something, and we opened up AI. We put the voice on the table, and we said, hey, we're doing this maths question, double-digit multiplication. Don't give us the answer, but talk us through how we can get through the answer. And it was personalized. We said, when you finish it, if I get an answer right, give me a joke. Like, you can have fun and stuff like that. So AI is an excellent teacher as well. And so the virtuous cycle of, oh wait, no, I don't have junior staff, how will I have junior staff? No, that still continues. And in any organization that's long-term sighted will also realize that, hey, I want to invest in my next workforce, because they'll be the people working with my agents. Like, it's not I'll only have senior people only loop. So, but yeah, those are some thoughts on that topic. Yeah, don't know if that's useful or not. Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I can just see. I could just sit and you do the talking. He was questioning.
We were debating who was going to talk more in this interview. If you look at our past interviews for the last 10 years, sometimes it's been a bit different.
This is Sherif Mansour from Atlassian.
Yeah.
And if you want to know more about him, I think I am the best source. So the internet will give you tens of videos of us together. Some of them are silly.
Oh, we look much younger and better looking, I think, in 10 years ago. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe. When did you look last?
Yeah.
You can't be sure. Maybe it was different.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate it. Thanks, Martin. Thank you for your time. See ya. Thanks, Martin.
Awesome.
Always good, mate.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
that's really good content. Thank you so much.